Hello, and welcome to the next episode of TNC Talks Non-Profit with Mercedes and Scott. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this year of the podcast, Methodist Healthcare Ministries of South Texas. The support that they give us helps us bring these interesting stories to you on a year-round basis. And right now, we have a new guest, and I'm going to have Mercedes.
I'm going to try not to mess up her name. I've asked three or four times.
She's been practicing.
Minka Visanji.
Perfect.
Oh, with Girls on the Run. She's the CEO, and she's with us today. We're so glad you're here with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, this podcast, because she listened to an episode before she came. She did her homework. Thank you. I did my homework. That's good to do. So before we talk about your story and how you came into the role as the CEO for Girls on the Run, why don't you tell us a little bit about Girls on the Run and what your organization does?
Sure. So Girls on the Run, we are a youth development program that serves girls in 3rd through 8th grade. And it's a confidence building program that really helps kids to understand who they are, how to be a good friend, how to have good, solid relationships. And then running is the tool that helps support those lessons. And so it's a program that meets at school, after school, twice a year. It's facilitated by volunteer coaches. And so we're just getting our fall programming up and rolling right now. And we're looking at serving about 400 girls around Bexar, Kendall, Comal counties. We actually just added a bunch of counties around us. Yeah, we're outside of Bexar. And so we're called Girls on the Run Bexar County. We're going to be having a name change pretty soon, probably this year. And we have about almost 200 volunteers that we're training and supporting to be with our kids we serve.
Fantastic. My youngest daughter, Isla, participated in Girls on the Run a couple years ago. Yeah. She really enjoyed it. And I guess the season culminates with a 5K.
It does. It's a 5K that's open to the community. And so running is really the goal-setting piece. Mm-hmm. It is about helping girls understand what it feels like in their bodies to set a goal and reach a goal and work on just forward movement. Like, how do I look at myself and see what's good for me and how to reach the goals that I set? But doing that with the support of a whole community. And so the 5Ks are really beautiful. I mean, we're so biased, but they're beautiful, joyful events. And we have about 1,500 people all in all from the community, including volunteers and the kids there for race day.
It was impressive. So I did it was my first 5K, so I didn't really know what to expect. Yeah. I'd never run in a community-wide event like that before. And so when we showed up, it was impressive. I mean, it was so well organized. All the volunteers were happy, and then all the little girls were so cute. They were making all the bracelets, and y'all had little stations for them to do things, and getting together with their team beforehand, getting pumped up. And I wanted to participate with my daughter as a bonding experience, and I thought she would run with me, but she left me in the dust.
They do that.
I don't even think I saw her at the starting line. She just pushed her way up to the front. Of course, that's her personality, so I was not super surprised, but I struggled through it. But man, it was, you saw professional runners there and lots of families. It was really sweet.
So that was your first 5K. How did you feel at the end?
Exhausted. It was really humid that day. So it was kind of hard for me. It felt great though. And it was just a joy to see the kids. And what was really sweet, it was during the 5K, like some of the girls who were participants saw me struggling and they're like, you can do it. And then there were volunteers along the side also cheering people on, which actually really did help me finish because I was like, this is horrible.
Well, and that's part of the community that we're trying to build through Girls on the Run. It's, to help kids understand that they can do whatever they want to do. A girl can do whatever she wants to do. And so we're there to build her confidence, but to know that she can do that in a safe space. And so her team, those are the people, you don't want to cross the finish line and just go off and do your thing. Right. There's a place for that, of course, in this world. But come back for the people who are part of your team. So, you take care of the people who are close to you. And then there's a bigger community that's another safe space. So it's like the layers of, that space that helps people feel that confidence. And hopefully knowing, like, when you cross the finish line, if you can do that, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like a marathon.
That's hard.
It's hard.
It was harder than I thought because I used to be a runner, not a serious runner, but I used to jog for exercise. I'm like, well, this shouldn't be that bad. And it was tough, but there were people cheering me on. Since my daughter left me in the dust, I had other people there.
Exactly.
You're not alone.
Exactly.
I was so fun. And it was sweet too, because I noticed a lot of the teams did stick together a little little girls, there'd be like 2 or 3 girls who would run together, and one would kind of stop or like need to walk, and the other girls would wait for her. And it was just really sweet.
Yeah. Girls supporting girls. That's what we're trying to do.
Wow.
And outside of the run, what do y'all do in school?
Yeah, so there's the kids meet twice a week for 90 minutes. And so it's an actual curriculum that helps kids understand things like defining your emotions. So we have a whole series of lessons on what does it mean to identify what an emotion feels like, and then understanding not good or bad emotions, but comfortable or uncomfortable, and then giving them the tools to understand what to do with their emotions. And so that's a series of like 3 or 4 lessons right there. And so there's lessons on how to be, one of my favorites is how to be a stand-upper instead of a stand-byer. So if you see somebody being bullied, what can you do to help a person out? And what would you want to have for help if you're the one who's being bullied? And so a series of lessons to talk about how that actually, just to give them skills, give them tools.
So I imagine you have to do like a orientation or a training for the volunteers.
We do. There's a national coach training. So Girls on the Run Bexar County is actually part of a larger organization, Girls on the Run International. There's about 160 councils around the country, and we're in this part of Texas. And so we're an independent 501c3, but we all use the same curriculum. And that's a beautiful thing because no matter where you go in the country, And here in San Antonio, same with volunteers. San Antonio, a lot of people move in and out of San Antonio for the military and other things. And so they recognize the organization. And so when people come volunteer with us, they're part of national coach training. It's a blended training where they do online modules talking about trauma-informed care, how to work with kids in different, 3rd through 5th grade is one curriculum, 6th through 8th, middle schools. Difference. And then they come in to train with us to go through the curriculum and actually practice some lessons, and then we support them.
Awesome.
So we just had a training on Saturday, the last of our trainings for fall. So a pretty full day of probably 30 coaches coming in also that day. Oh, wonderful.
So how long have you been with Girls on the Run?
So I'm one of the co-founders here in San Antonio. We're going to be celebrating our 15-year anniversary this year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you get into Girls on the Run? Were you in the nonprofit space before? Take us back to the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
What's your story?
So my story, wow. So I never thought about nonprofit at all. Actually, I read about Girls on the Run in Women's Health magazine. It was like 2 sentences saying, do you enjoy running? Do you want to volunteer to help girls build their confidence? I was like, sure.
Yes,
and yes. Like fun, I'll volunteer. And there wasn't a council here, but there was a group of women already getting the process started to see what can we do to bring Girls on the Run here. So 2 things that drew me were the running piece of it and then the helping support girls. Because in a previous life, So right before this, I was a college professor. I taught English literature and I taught women's studies. And I was living in Guam and I was teaching there.
What?
Before I moved here.
See, I get surprised by all these stories.
Yes. And before that, I never, so like when I was in college, I always wanted to be a writer. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to write and I wanted to just sit alone in my room and not talk to people and read stories and write
it kind of
stories.
fits your personality.
It does.
Quiet.
It does. I was always kind of a quiet person and the reader and the writer. And when I went to school then to get a degree in English, everybody said, well, what are you going to do with the degree in English? You're going to teach. I said, I don't want to teach. I just want to write. Well, be practical and do something else. So I got a dual degree in English and in marketing. And so right out of school, I was, wanted to be done with school, finished my bachelor's and took a job in marketing. And of course, that's a sales job. And I was a terrible sales person. But it was fun because I was in Michigan where I grew up. And I moved from Michigan to Indianapolis then for my first job once I graduated. It was before computers and before cell phones. And so my territory was half the state of Indiana. And we would get paper maps and just drive around. And, I was selling paper rolls for NCR. I know it was fun, but it was terrible. It was terrible. So that lasted a couple of years. And in that time I decided, I really I love English. I love literature. I want to go back to school. So I started back to graduate school and then ended up at Northern Illinois University, where I got my master's and my PhD, and thought, well, what do you do with the PhD you teach? Then I moved to Guam. I followed my now ex-husband. He actually got a job there too. He was an English professor. He was British literature. I was American literature. And we both got jobs there. So I've lived there for about 5 years.
But why Guam? Like, was it?
That's where there was an opening. It was tough to get jobs teaching literature. And so he got that job, and it ended up to be a really great thing. I mean, I loved it there. I was there for about 5 years, and that's where I started running. I didn't run before that at all. And again, I was the reader and the writer, and I really wasn't physically active. And it was really great. I taught women's literature and composition. And that's where really, you hear the stories about people's lives. I remember when I was in grad school, one of my favorite teachers was a graduate student, and she taught women's literature. And so we wrote response papers. She just called them, you'd read some women's literature and then respond. And I was so mad, like all the time reading all the stories about, the women's right to vote and can't vote, just all the things through history. And so I was always mad and always writing papers. And she would always choose mine to read in front of the class. So I would go hang out in her office and not talk, just kind of sit there in her office. And she's like, all right, you can hang out with me. And then by the time I was teaching, people would come and sit in my office. And I know what you're doing. It's like when you write, you're exposing yourself. Right. And so you're sharing this, I guess, in some ways, some of the deepest secrets really about yourself, and freshman composition of all places. And as I was reading some of these stories from young women, I was thinking, oh my God, like if you had something different in life, a different tool, a different way to help you shape your life, maybe things would be different for you. And so that later I realized was the connection with Girls on Their Own. It's like, these are kids. Right. We can give them tools to maybe help them shape their lives.
Oh my gosh.
And so, yeah.
I almost want to cry right now.
And what brought you back to the States?
So I got divorced. And then when people, my mom lived in Texas, still lives in Texas. And so, yeah, I didn't really have anywhere to go. I showed up at her door with 2 suitcases and 2 chihuahuas, and she was kind enough to take me. Well, one of my suitcases was full of books and chihuahua toys. So, yeah. I moved to Texas in 2007, I guess it was, in Salado, and then made my way down here where my sister lived. So came here.
Wow, that's so interesting. So there is such a,
there's always
a thread. Not always, but there is. Our previous guests didn't have a thread, but we find a lot in these interviews that there's a little thread that is woven through the story. And
in hindsight, I can see, I know when I started, I never thought, even when we started Girls on Their Own, it never occurred to me that I would be executive director. I thought, and so at that time, I came back to Texas, I couldn't find a job teaching right away, but I needed to take a job. Mm-hmm. So I took a job at an IT company as a technical writer. And that was a really interesting experience for a lot of reasons. But when I started then doing this work, by then I was done. I'm not a desk sitter. I cannot have a job where I'm behind a desk all day. It didn't work out there for me. And I left and became a consultant. So I did editing and so I had a lot of time. My time was my own to structure the way I wanted. And I thought, okay, that's why I'll step into this role. And at the time, so much imposter syndrome. I thought, I was an English professor. What do I know about running an organization? I was a tech writer. What do I know? Turns out I knew a lot, partly because teaching I'm still teaching, right? That's what we do. You're teaching every day. We're teaching our coaches and my staff. That's pretty much what life is. As a leader, you're teaching people to do things. And at the IT company, it was a startup IT company. And so I think I was employee number 100 and something when I started. And a year and a half later when I left, there were 600 people.
Oh my gosh.
And I came in as a tech writer, but left as the manager of the technical writing department. And I had 12 employees, but Well, the people were amazing. And it sounds very boring.
technical writing at a tech company.
Yeah.
Which is not, I don't see that in you at all.
No, but I learned like, what do you do to build a business? And I
And
remember
manage
at the
people.
time thinking, oh my God, they messed this up. If I ever ran my own business, I would never do this. And now I'm like, oh yeah, they did that. Now I get it.
Well, I'm sure that helped you with building your team and managing volunteers. And
I think so. I mean, just all the things about sales and customer service and everything I learned there. There's a thread. There's a thread around people and relationships and building systems and putting things, I guess I think of it as making order out of chaos. And that's what writing is. That's what teaching is. That's what nonprofit is.
I know.
So your entry into the organization was volunteer?
Yeah. Pretty much a bunch of us came together and said, what do we need to do to make this happen? So for the first, even as an executive director, the first, I don't even know, 2-3 years, I was volunteering my time until we could build a budget, until we could build all the things we needed to build. So the organization operated out of my home for about 6 years.
Oh.
And so in 2016, the YMCA, they're so generous. And so, I mean, the nonprofit community is amazing. It's just how much they support each other. And so they had space. They moved into a new building and had space and said, why don't you come? Yeah. And that was from my home right into our first office. It was a room about this big.
Which,
Sandy Marie.
On Rhapsody.
Oh, Rhapsody.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember because Sandy was our board chair at the time and we used to have our meetings there. And I remember seeing the girls on the run.
Yeah.
Y'all were downstairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you now? How many staff do you have now?
So there are 5 of us, 4 full-time. She's not really a half person. So there's 5.
I identify in halftime here and there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, small but mighty. We're right down the road. During COVID, they had to sell their building and said, oh, we think it'll be a year. No, 2 months, we all had to be out. It was something crazy. So we moved right down the road at Isom. So we're right on the corner from you, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Which building?
The Mac 37 building. Alzheimer's used to be there.
Oh,
yes.
There's a lot of space. We keep hoping for neighbors. We're like, someone come in.
We used to be at the VP, where the VP racing is.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Before they renovated.
Yeah, I was always scared I was going to get stuck in the elevator. It would kind of jiggle and it kind of stop between floors.
So you take the steps.
So I would sometimes.
We had a 250 square foot.
It's very nonprofit.
Very nonprofit.
Paneling.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite thing about Girls on the Run?
Yeah.
Before we sign off.
My favorite thing about Girls on the Run, I think, it's the people. It's, seeing, there's too many things. It's like seeing, knowing that there's a lot, the volunteers, they want to volunteer. There's people who give their heart and their time and their passion to support the kids. And, every year that we grow, every time we grow, I think, it's not, I used to know everybody. I would go to one of our races and I would know all the volunteers, all the parents, all the kids by name. And now I look and say, who are these people? And I have nothing to do with it. They've taken it and just go.
Well,
and
they're like you, reading it in the
thing.
newspaper.
Yeah.
You want to help girls? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to help them build confidence? Well, what an amazing mission and what a great time to be doing this work because, I think
they need it.
They do. We need to support the girls as much as possible.
Absolutely.
By us having 2 daughters and being a girl myself. But
it's true. We live in tough times. We need support.
Yes. Well, it's a great message. And we thank you for your work that you do.
Thank you.
And for being on our show.
Yeah,
And who knew?
I
lived in Guam. Technical writer for a tech company. These stories are wild to me because it's I would have never thought that. So, and here you are, but it all kind of makes sense when you put it all together. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, thank you, Minka.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great story. Thank y'all for joining us in this episode, and thank you to Methodist Healthcare Ministries of South Texas for their support in bringing these episodes to you. See you next time.